Well, tonight down in DC, the Patriot League Tournament championship game, Navy taking on American. It's a pleasure now to be joined here on GCR by the captain of the Navy basketball team and the captain of captains at Navy. He is Lysander Rehnstrom, and he is with us now on the program. Lysander, it's Glenn. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time for us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be on, and excited to do this interview with you.
I can only imagine how excited you are. And look, just take me through in starting in February, this team, this stretch that you guys have been on that's led you to this point. Was there something that, like in particular, clicked? Is there a proverbial like moment where it all came together that you put together this stretch where you've only lost one game, or is it sort of like, hey, we're doing the same things that we just got better results?
Yeah, I don't know if there's been a moment. I think this team, we have a young team, and we started to come together. We started to really embrace what we're about. I think we found our team identity, and that's to play physically, to get after people and be aggressive. And when we figured out who we were, the winning just kind of came with.
Did you like when you say that, right? Was there anything in particular, like a conversation, anything at all that stood out to you?
I think one of the big defining moments of our season were the two Army wins, but
Yeah.
specifically that second one at home for the M Star. That second Army win was a big one for us from an emotional standpoint, from a coming together, from representing the name on the front of the jersey. Everything we wanted happened that game, and then we really started to believe.
And look where we are now, one game away from the NCAA tournament, having won seven out of your last eight. Like I said, you're going up to Bucknell on Sunday, right? And that was a heck of a battle. But what did it take? Like, what was it to you that was most key that allowed you guys to go on the road and get a big win like that, besides Austin just making like 1,000 free throws?
Well, obviously, it helps when Austin Benini gets 20 to 22 from the line, and he is a talent unlike nobody else in the country to get to the free throw line. But I think what it took is really, really great focus and a couple of days of preparation where everybody from number one to down at the end of the bench, super dialed in on the scout, on the game plan, on what we wanted to accomplish. And we knew like they're a super talented team. Player of the year, a lot of older guys, a team that was obviously the favorite being the one seed. It's no easy task to go win on the road, but we showed that we can win through a little bit of adversity
Yeah.
and overcome a tough opponent in a tough atmosphere. And it's a credit to our team and especially our young guys and their ability to learn and pick up things really quickly coming down the stretch here.
We're chatting with Lysander Renstrom, Navy and American tonight in DC for the Patriot League title. Lysander, obviously you got two wins over American this season, including a win at American. What do you do with that? Like, do you completely ignore it? Do you, you have to have the conversation about how difficult it is to beat a team a third time in a year? That's the proverbial thought process. Like, do you say, hey, we think that because we did this in this game, that benefits us tonight? What do you do with that information this week?
Americans got a ton of talent, but we're hungry. We're hungry, and I know we beat them twice this year, and yeah, we've addressed that, and we've watched our games. We've done a ton of preparation, but quite frankly, we're a hungry team right now, and that's we know it's going to be a hard game. It's the Patriot League Championship. Both teams want it, but when you go to war, like both teams are going to play as hard as possible. And that's the atmosphere we embrace. So it doesn't matter what happened during the regular season. We're coming after them. We're going to come after them with the peak aggression.
I imagine it can't hurt, right? Like it can't hurt to know that you've done it. Like that you have that file and that we can do this. We know we can. We've literally already done it.
Absolutely. It certainly doesn't hurt. And being confident stems with one, having success against this team, but also having the humility to understand, like, just because we did get them doesn't mean we can ease up on our
No doubt.
preparation.
No doubt. All right, a lot of times when I have Navy athletes on the show, I'll have conversations, and they always knew they wanted to go to the academy. It was the only place they wanted to be. You started off like this is not the traditional path to the Naval Academy. Most guys don't transfer into the academy from, what people would call higher level programs. Can you walk me through the decision? You start at George Mason, you're in the A-10, and then the Academy of all places. What's the story there?
Yeah, the story is it's an interesting one for sure. I think it's been an unbelievable 5 years of college basketball, but it ultimately started actually my senior year of high school. Senior year of high school, I got injured pretty badly in a basketball game. I ended up in the ICU for a little bit.
Wow.
And coming out of the hospital, I didn't know if I was going to be able to play college ball or not. So that's how I ended up at George Mason. I knew the staff there well, and I called them and I said, hey, give me a chance. Let me walk on. Uh, and that's how I ended up at George Mason as a walk on that year. Then when the staff there was let go, I got really fortunate enough to be put in contact with the staff of the academy. And I had no idea what I was getting into, quite frankly. The rigor of the school, joining the military, it was so foreign to me. I have no military in my family. I showed up day one, and they buzzed my head. They started yelling at me, and everything was going a million miles an hour. So no, it was certainly not my plan since I was 3 years old, and I was the military brat growing up. It's an incredible journey to now be in a position where I'm at now, team captain, Naval Academy, one game away from March Madness. I could have never imagined it in a million years.
That's really cool, man. Was there a transition for you? Like, at first, was there any reluctance to it? Like, maybe I made the wrong decision. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe this is too much that you had to gradually ease into, or
Absolutely. Obviously, we have our own boot camp called Plebe Summer, and no matter how good an athlete you think you are, it is physically and mentally demanding. And there were certainly times over that Plebe Summer where I was telling myself, like, go meal to meal, get to lunch, get to dinner. All right, make it to next day's breakfast. And then even after getting out of that, going through my plebe year at the academy is rigorous, and it's rigorous on purpose. Even as athletes, like, we're balancing being students, being athletes, and being members of the military. There's a lot being thrown at us. And there are certainly times where, I'd wake up in the morning, I'd be like, wow, I can't believe I go to the Naval Academy. And other times where I'm like, God, I wish I wasn't at the Naval Academy. But in all honesty, now being a senior and getting ready to commission in the United States Marine Corps, I couldn't have asked for a better opportunity.
so.
I've grown up and I've learned so much about myself that any other school in the country, I just wouldn't have developed into the man I am today.
Okay, but what you just said there is the part that blows me away. You go from like, I'm not sure that this is the place for me to I'm gonna join the Marines. How do you make that jump from like a little bit of I'm not sure to now I'm gonna go be a Marine?
Well, the as a Division I athlete, I obviously pride myself on enduring and being physically challenged. So there's no place like the Marine Corps when it comes to dealing with adversity and overcoming that with a team of guys is really the emphasis as well. I've
That's
had incredible teammates that have gone on to be great Marine officers. And that was kind of the first hint as, okay, maybe this is for me. And the more I learn and the more the Marine Corps shows me like what they're about, how they value being on a team, being physically active, always being supportive of each other. It's just like being on a basketball team. And that's what I want in my career. Like, you only play basketball so many years, but you can always be on a team. And there's no better team than the United States Marine Corps.
cool. That's really cool, man. Well, yeah, obviously, let me make sure I say thank you for making that commitment because that is truly an incredible thing to do, man. For you to make that decision to serve that way, and we are glad that there are humans like you that are willing to do that. Like I said, with that in mind, right? Like you're the captain, and then the captain of captains for Navy athletics, right? Like the captain of all of the captains. Tell me about that, how that came to be, why that was something that you were interested in doing, and what does that mean? Because I know it's a really important role at the academy.
Yeah, again, something I never would have imagined in a million years. When I was So all of the team captains, after we get selected on our respective sports, we get together paired with the company commanders who are in charge of the companies. So for people who aren't familiar, the Naval Academy, I don't live with my teammates. I live with my company mates, and I've done so for 4 years. So very close bonds kind of with both groups. So the team captains and the company commanders, we all go to Gettysburg on a leadership retreat. And it's an
Okay.
opportunity to get to know each other, the leadership of the brigade, and also talk through some of the issues that we anticipate facing. And it's there at that leadership retreat where they brought all the team captains together, they let us interact, and they kind of put it to a vote. There's, plenty of really, really capable individuals who all could have done an absolutely fantastic job as captain of captains. And I was fortunate enough to be selected from an incredible group of really talented individuals and even more talented athletes. And in that role, as captain of captains, I try to facilitate all sports. Like you said, I represent more than just the basketball team. I try to represent all student athletes at the Naval Academy from a military standpoint, making sure that they're adhering to the military responsibilities, not forgetting that we are more than just athletes. We are midshipmen,
Hmm.
but also making sure that leadership knows we're competing at the highest level. We're getting ready to go win a Patriot League championship and go to March Madness. And there's a lot that comes to that. That sometimes the military side of the house needs to make accommodations to make sure that athletes are getting the support that they need to go and compete at the highest level of Division I athletics. So
Well,
that's kind of my role as captain of captains.
and I appreciate, and to the point that you made earlier, like the unique difficulties. No one, I mean, I guess maybe at West Point or out in Colorado, they might understand a little bit, but like nobody else in the country can possibly understand all of the demands of, everything that you all are going through on a day-to-day basis. So, yes, that they need to have someone to vocalize that to say, hey, we still like mental health is still real, like we still have a lot of demands, we still need to be represented. That's a powerful thing for you to be doing.
Absolutely. And it's important that you mentioned mental health. I think the academy is a unique school where people think like, oh, it's the military and it's the Naval Academy. So they're all a bunch of, really strict, disciplined Navy SEALs. And it's not the case. Like we're actually in a support system at the Naval Academy that is really, really appreciative of what we bring to the table as student athlete midshipmen. The amount of care that goes into our development, both as athletes and as future leaders, is unrecognizable to other institutions. And there's disadvantages to playing sports at Navy, but there's certainly a lot more advantages. And the mental health support, the leadership training, the development that gets poured into us just makes us 10 times better athletes. And just more appreciative of like all the work that goes into our education and the forming of military officers.
That's great stuff, man. All right. What it would mean to you. You mentioned it a couple times, Lysander Rehnstrom, for you to be able to wrap up your athletic career, cutting down nets tonight in DC, and then celebrating with your team on Sunday and going to play in the NCAA tournament.
It Speechless right now is how I feel given that opportunity. And I mean, you put it on, you nailed it. It would mean a lot to me, but celebrating with my teammates afterwards would mean a whole lot more. I want this moment. I want it for them. I want it for them again next year when I graduate. Like this is an incredible, special group of guys that have come together at the right time, and we're playing our best basketball, and we hope to do so deep into March.
Man,
And there's no better place to do it than at Navy.
we love all of the sounds of that. Lysander, you're such an incredible human being, and we are so grateful that you are stepping up and representing our country. And we can't wait to see what you guys have in store tonight and moving forward as you bring up into March. Are you anywhere on social media that Navy fans can be giving you a follow?
Actually, no, I deleted all of my
Good for
social media.
you.
I've been locked in for a couple of years now, but I do have a LinkedIn, I guess, if people want to follow me there.
No, good, dude. Good for you. I'm so jealous. I hope to get to that day at some point to get away from the cesspool. Lysander, congratulations on everything you've accomplished, man, and best of luck tonight and moving forward. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome. And beat him one more game tonight.